Kratos versus Sun Wukong, two of the most powerful deities out there, and they're finally going head to head. But who's ultimately going to be coming out on top? And really, is it even going to be close? Let's get into it. Born in Sparta, Kratos is a demigod son of Zeus and was once a soldier and Spartan general. He worked under Ares' command, serving the god of war, until he accidentally killed his wife and daughter under Ares' order. The ghost of Sparta renounced his service to the god of war, eventually killing him and ascending to true godhood himself, becoming the new god of war. And from there, Kratos continued on his deicide, claiming revenge against his father Zeus and all the Olympian gods who had betrayed him. After following through on his vengeance, Kratos left to Norway and the world of the Norse gods. And of course, war and fighting followed him there too. Now Kratos isn't just a great character, he's also just an absolute beast. He is so freaking powerful. And there is a difference between gameplay Kratos and lore Kratos. Like in the gameplay, we've seen Kratos struggle to lift some rocks. He gets hurt by swords or arrows or random skeleton warriors. Sometimes he can't even open certain chests. Even when he's literally killing gods, it doesn't necessarily feel that earth-shattering, especially when you compare it to some of the stuff going on in the Marvel universe. But that's why you have to understand the lore of Kratos in the God of War universe, because that's how you'll see just what a beast Kratos truly is. Let me explain the God of War cosmology here for a second, as there are basically three different power groups you need to know about: primordials, titans, and gods. In the beginning, before anything was, there were the primordials. These beings waged war on each other before the very concept of time existed. And out of this war came the Earth. And not just the Earth, but the whole universe itself. I mean, they were throwing punches around and literally creating the Big Bang. That's insane. And what's even crazier? Kratos killed some of them. Like Gaia, Mother Earth, the first being to ever exist. Kratos killed her. Thanatos, the primordial personification of death, and responsible for helping to create the universe. Kratos killed him. The very concept of death. And Kratos killed him. Then there are the Titans, the spawns of the primordials, like Kronos, king of the Titans, 16,000 feet tall, 7 million tons. And when this Titan tried to crush Kratos with his fingers, Kratos was able to hold him off and push him back. That's like holding back millions of tons, billions of tons of force. It's an absolutely insane showing. Kronos has had the same universe-shaking fights against primordials, but he wasn't able to fight and kill Kratos. And Kratos did it again. This time he was fighting against Atlas, a titan who's roughly just as strong as Kronos and is tasked with holding the sky on his shoulders. Atlas tried to squish Kratos just like Kronos did, but Kratos was able to hold it off and push him back, just like he did with Kronos. Wait. Hold on, let me make sure you get that. Atlas is the strongest titan in God of War. It required the might of both Hades and Poseidon to stop him. He could hold the entire cosmos on his shoulders and prevent it from falling and collapsing. And in God of War, the sky and the entire cosmos has been confirmed a few times to be literally infinite and limitless. Atlas is performing the same feat as when Superman held up a book of infinite pages, or when Hercules held the literal sky. Simply holding up infinity. Yet he still failed to crush Kratos. And Kratos is also just a fraction of his size too. Then there are the times where Kratos fought against gods, and specifically some pretty powerful Norse gods, like Thor. Thor is so strong and so powerful that his battle with Jormungandr splintered the tree Yggdrasil, and this is what it looks like when a tree is splintered. But Yggdrasil is so much more than just a tree. It's a construct that transcends space and time and supports all of creation with its existence, holding the infinite universes that are housed within Norse mythos. Thor splintered that tree with his fight with Jormungandr, and sent Jormungandr backwards through time with a punch, back before even his own birth. This is the guy that Kratos fought against, and it's the guy that Kratos was able to beat and overpower by the end of the game. And not just that, but defeating gods like Hades, and ripping out Hades' soul, defeating Baldur, a guy who can knock out the world serpent with just 3 punches, and defeat even Zeus and Odin themselves, beating literal universal and Skyfather level beings by himself. He truly is the ultimate god killer. Sun Wukong was born from a magical stone formed from chaos itself, and after entering into the world, he lived in the mountain of flowers and fruit with other monkeys, was eventually proclaimed their ruler and crowned the Monkey King. However, Sun Wukong wasn't content with this and still feared death, so he decided to seek out immortality. And on his journey, well, he didn't just gain immortality, but all sorts of other powers and abilities along the way. Sun Wukong actually has multiple different levels of immortality, because just one wasn't enough. He's taken pills of longevity, and he's eaten an entire garden of heavenly peaches, with each one of these heaven peaches giving him another layer of immortality. And not just that, but to really seal the deal, well, he's even crossed his name out of the Book of Death. And like we said, alongside his immortality, well, Sun Wukong has pretty much every other power you can possibly imagine. Like, he can copy his opponent's own powers, so nothing really phases him. He'll just copy the power, laugh, and beat you like it's nothing. He can shapeshift into anything that he wants. Literally anything that he wants. And he can also create anything that he wants too. He's really only limited by his imagination, meaning that he can make any weapon he wants, copies of himself that are just as powerful as him, even copies of his opponents. And he can make a lot of things too. He's able to turn each hair on his body into anything that he wants, which is 84,000 pieces of hair to be exact. So, basically, fighting and beating Sun Wukong is dang near impossible, considering that fighting him can also mean fighting 84,000 copies of himself, or even copies of yourself, each with different layers of immortality, and each that grow and get stronger and stronger throughout the fight. With powers like this, well, Sun Wukong was able to defeat hundreds of gods, some of whom were the strongest gods in all of existence, and even managed to lift the whole Milky Way galaxy over his head, which in this mythos is said to be infinite in size. Yeah, the Monkey King is ridiculous. And after doing all this and defeating every warrior in heaven, well, he decided to fight the Buddha himself. And cause Sun Wukong was created by a bunch of Buddhist monks as basically Buddhist propaganda, well, he lost to the Buddha. It was an attempt to create the most powerful, most broken character ever who could wipe the floor of every other god, but then lose to the Buddha. So what happened was Buddha made a bet with Sun Wukong that if Sun Wukong could jump out of his hand, well then the monkey could take the Jade Emperor's throne for himself. Sun Wukong agreed and jumped to the other end of heaven, so basically infinity. But the trick was that he never left the Buddha's hand, because Buddha was enlightened and had achieved true nirvana, meaning he held all of existence in his hand. And obviously, Sun Wukong can't jump outside of existence. At least not yet. So, cause Sun Wukong lost, well, Buddha sealed him away for 500 years. And after he was finally released, he accompanied a Buddhist monk on a pilgrimage, where Sun Wukong actually grew stronger and stronger than he was even before, to the point where he could hold up Mount Sumeru on just one shoulder, which basically equaled out to holding up the infinite cosmic sky. Wukong was able to reach perfection on his journey, entering into the incomplete nirvana, which is boundless reality beyond everything, beyond all concepts and limitations. It's above the God realms and the formless realms, which those two realms were already above physicality and dimensions. So we're talking about like true outerversal stuff here. And it doesn't stop there, because at the end of his journey, Sun Wukong was brought before the Buddha again, and this time he transcended into the complete nirvana, which made him even more powerful. He's the strongest god in existence. He's literally above everything in existence, above life, above death. He's omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. He's Sun Wukong, the fighting Buddha, arguably the most broken character in all of fiction. So, who wins here? Well, let's break it down. So Kratos has definitely made a specialty out of killing gods and unkillable beings. He's plowed through pretty much every immortal being in his way and loved pretty much every single second of it. So in God of War, there are basically 3 different power levels or power groupings: Primordials, Titans, and the gods of Olympus. In the beginning, before anything was, there were the Primordials. These beings waged war on each other before the very concept of time existed. And out of this war came the Earth. And not just the Earth, but the whole universe itself. I mean, they were throwing punches around and literally creating the Big Bang. That's insane. What's even crazier, Kratos killed some of these guys. Like he killed Gaia, Mother Earth herself. She's the first being to ever exist in the God of War story. Preceded all the Primordials, and they already all preceded the universe itself. Gaia is an omnipresent being, able to exist everywhere all at the same time, exist in every time, even see the future. And Kratos killed her and Zeus at the same time. And that's not the only primordial that he killed. He also fought against and killed Thanatos, the primordial personification of death. This guy existed before the universe too, fought in the primordial war, even created his own dimension. Here Kratos is, killing him. Granted, like it was a hard fight, it wasn't easy for Kratos to do this, but this guy is one of the most powerful primordials ever, was the literal embodiment of the very concept of death. It was never going to be an easy fight. It was one of the fights where everyone began to take Kratos seriously. This is when Zeus began to actually be afraid of Kratos, calling him the destroyer of worlds. You want to know something else crazy? The Titans and the gods are on the same level as the Primordials. They actually were the ones who replaced the Primordials. The Titans are the spawn of the Primordials and ruled creation during a golden age of peace and prosperity, where the Titans were the end-all, be-all. That is, until Kronos' son rose up to overthrow them and establish Mount Olympus. And there are a few titans that Kratos fought against and beat too, even killed a few of them, like Atlas. We talked about this guy earlier, but he is the strongest titan and god of war, could hold up the earth with just one hand, was the one tasked with carrying the weight of the entire cosmos on his back. And just so we're clear, and god of war, the universe, the cosmos, they're literally infinite. Not infinitely expanding like our universe, but just infinite. And yet Kratos held him back. He couldn't overpower Kratos. And then there's Kronos, the king of the Titans, the very embodiment of time, the ruler of the universe during this golden age, and he claimed that throne by defeating the embodiment of the universe itself, Uranus. And he did it in an epic, potentially universe-shattering fight that was similar to the fight between the primordials that created the universe in the first place. And you know what? While Kronos killed his father Uranus, a dude who has powers way beyond the universe, well, Kratos was able to kill him. He died by Kratos' hands. Then last but not least, well, there are the gods, the children of the Titans. The gods were destined to rule the universe and crush all opposition under their feet. The king of the gods, Zeus, fought for vengeance and freedom from his parents that would eventually end the time of the Titans and bring about the reign of Mount Olympus. For a millennia, the gods ruled creation, governing the fundamental forces of nature and order until Kratos showed up. Kratos managed to kill plenty of gods, but it was really impressive he was able to take down the big three: Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. Hades is the third most powerful god and god of war. He was even able to gobble up Atlas's soul and gain all of his power. So the way that Hades works is that his power increases with the more souls that he devours, and Kratos fought Hades centuries after the Great War. So that means that the version of Hades that Kratos was fighting was even more powerful than when Hades fought Atlas. And yet, Hades still couldn't end up devouring Kratos' soul. Instead, it ended up being the other way around. And along with it, well, Kratos gained all the other souls that Hades had eaten. Poseidon is the second most powerful god. While we don't really know a ton about him, we do know that he can kill a titan with just one punch. He would have even killed Gaia herself if it wasn't for Kratos, if he hadn't gotten to Poseidon first. Then last but not least, Zeus, the most powerful being in God of War. He almost killed Gaia with just one lightning bolt. His mere anger can shake the entire universe. He created the Blade of Olympus, the most powerful weapon in the universe, and used it to absolutely obliterate the Titans. It's basically like the Infinity Gauntlet. You just gotta swing it around, you just gotta use it, and every being ceases to exist against it. It's pretty freaking crazy. But then Zeus was stabbed twice with the blades and didn't die. That's how powerful Zeus is. You know what? Kratos killed him. Kratos beat him. Kratos is out there just consistently beating universal level beings, even beings beyond the universe, beating the very gods and beings that were responsible for creating the universe in the first place. And Kratos is beating all of them. He's basically their reckoning. And that's not even talking about when Kratos made his way over to the Norse realms too, because it's the same thing over there. The Norse gods are universal at the very least. Thor is shattering infinite and limitless realms by splintering Yggdrasil in his fights. Odin was the one who created all the realms and universes in the first place, and Kratos is easily plowing through them and killing them. So yeah, Shazam is going up against a guy with an impressive track record here. Kratos is a bit of a beast, especially when you're factoring in the lore around the character and the universe. God of War kinda goes hard. Kratos is just out there consistently beating universal level beings, even beings beyond the universe. But Sun Wukong has a specialty of not being killed. He's very literally unkillable. He's got layers upon layers of immortality, and everything that does try and kill him only ends up making him stronger and even more powerful. And not only does he have a track record just as impressive as Kratos, having defeated hundreds of gods, lifting infinite realms over his shoulders with every power in the book, at the end of his journey to the West, Sun Wukong reached perfection and enlightenment, and this easily puts him out of Kratos' reach. First, starting out, Wukong just reached the remainder stage of Nirvana, and that alone is already beyond all concepts of everything, and literally beyond everything. That alone is pretty much an outerversal realm, because the incomplete Nirvana was already above the god realms and formless realms, which is already above and transcending the mortal realms. And then Sun Wukong took it a step further and actually entered into complete Nirvana. And that's even a whole level above incomplete Nirvana, because the beings in the remainder Nirvana couldn't perceive or comprehend anything in the complete Nirvana. I know it's confusing, but we're talking about infinite universes and realms upon infinite universes and realms upon infinite universes and realms. When Sun Wukong became Buddha Wukong, he was able to look down on all of this. He was omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and basically the most powerful and broken character in fiction. For as powerful as Kratos is, this fight isn't even close to being close. Sun Wukong transcends literally everything that Kratos can even imagine. He's not just all powerful, but literally immortal and unkillable, able to create anything he can imagine, with the extra power of being able to create 84,000 versions of himself to fight Kratos, with each of these alternate versions being just as powerful as the real Wukong. There's no question here, no need for debate, there's just nothing left to say. Sun Wukong wins here, and it's not even really close. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.